Hello team, this is Darren. Hope you are all well. Welcome to Training and Coaching Wednesday. And of course, it's the final week of the Olympics, so it would be almost rude not to do an Olympic themed post. So here we are today, TNC Wednesday, Training and Coaching Wednesday. What is your business's gold medal equivalent for motivation? It's a topic I'm really passionate about. You know, we see all these wonderful athletes at the Olympics accepting their gold medal. But the interesting part is, hello Sarah, jumping on early, good to see you on. The interesting part is that the driver for those athletes is rarely the actual gold medal, is it? It's what does that gold medal represent to them? What is the driver behind that gold medal? And for the different athletes, it's different, and you see them accepting their gold medal and they're interviewed after they've won, or after their event, or after they've accepted the gold medal. And for most of them, it's a different driver. It's not the actual medal, is it? It's what that medal represents. And for some of them, it's achieving their potential. For others, it's beating their rivals, maybe a rival that beat them all the time as a kid, and now their driver is to beat that rival. Maybe it's proving people wrong. It is for some people. We've heard it, haven't we? Is that, that initial coach or the early coach, or maybe the teacher that said, listen, you should choose another sport because this sport's not for you. And that's their driver to achieve the outcomes that they're after, the gold medal, so that they can feel, hey, I proved you wrong. Some people, the drive is the adulation from their family or the supporters or their fans or their country. And often it's proving to the people around them, their parents, for instance, and their family, that the commitment was worth it. The sacrifices of dropping the kids off at training multiple times a week, or silly hours of the morning, or financial sacrifices. Their driver is to prove that was worth it. And as an example, Ariarne Titmus, she explained that one of her drivers was that her family left Tasmania and moved to Queensland when she was young. The whole family moved to help her in a better position for the training. And her driver to win a gold medal, and multiple gold medals, was to prove to her family, that sacrifice was worth it. So my question to you from a business perspective, and the awareness is that your business target is the equivalent of an Olympic gold medal. Your business target to your staff and yourself is the equivalent of an Olympic gold medal to these athletes. So it's not about necessarily your team and your individuals and your staff hitting target. If you keep talking about how we're going hitting target, how you're going hitting target, what activity you're doing to hitting target, that may not be, in fact, it probably won't be, the actual driver for your team to take action. It's what does hitting target represent for them? Just like the Olympic athletes, what does the gold medal represent for them? That's the driver. And same with you in business. What does achieving target for you and your team represent for them? Is it to live to their potential? Is it to contribute to the team? Is it to have a united group? Is it to celebrate as a team? Is it something personal, like to pay off a credit card if it's financial reward for hitting target? Is it to plan for that holiday or pay for that wedding dress? I remember one of my staff members, when we were talking about targets and commission structures and all those sorts of things, and you've got to ask the question, like I have done to my staff over many, many years, is, listen, what's driving you? When you hit target, what does that mean for you? What are you going to do to celebrate? How does that benefit you? And for this individual, it was to save for their first house. They had saved a part of a deposit. They needed much more deposit. They had a time frame in which they wanted to achieve that deposit on the home. So when we went through achieving their targets and setting targets, it was based on a commission structure at the time. And I said, all right, so to be able to, we went through and they shared with me what they can live off and what they can put away from a savings. And we said, all right, well, to be able to put that full deposit down on your first house within that 6-month period, this is the outcomes that you need to achieve. This is the targets that you need to achieve, and that's going to create this much commission. And you said you can save this much. And guess what? In 6 months' time, you'll be paying that deposit on your first home. So my conversations from that point forward with that staff member wasn't how you're going achieving target. How can I help you achieve target? What action are you doing to achieve target? It wasn't that. It was, what action are you planning today to make sure you pay that house deposit in 6 months' time? How can I help you have that house deposit in 6 months' time so you and your partner can confidently buy that first home? Because that's what hitting target represents for that person. So the message for us as owners and sales professionals and leaders is to understand ourselves. What is driving us? Is it just hitting target, or is there what does that represent? What is the meaning behind that? And certainly for our staff. When you're doing goal setting for your staff, it's not just about the numbers, it's about what does those numbers represent, and have that conversation with the team, with your individuals. Sometimes it's a group goal, sometimes it's an individual goal, and that depends less on you and more so what drives your individuals within your team to perform at their best. So make sure you're having those conversations about what does the outcome mean to them? What would they do? What are they driving towards? How can you help? And again, the responses might be career progression. It might be taking your job. It might be paying off the credit card, buying a new car, buying a house, preparing for a holiday, being able to take time off and not feeling pressure, have a stress-free environment. And then your conversations to that person is around that rather than specifically around hitting target. Heath is on as well. Good to see you, Heath. Heath says, so true, Darren Roberts. Thank you, Heath. Well done. And the second bit before I let you go is, just like the athletes and their coaching team, make sure you have a plan for doing your best and achieving target and what that means for your team. So of course, to achieve that Olympic success and what that means to them, I'm sure none of the Olympians and their coaches said, oh, let's just do the best we can and try as hard as we can with our training. There was a structure and a plan behind it, wasn't it? When they had that time frame, it was, all right, how long do we need to do our base training for? How long do we need to do our strength training for? Power, recovery, taper. What heart rates do we need to stick to? What power zones do we need to be in? What percentage of anaerobic threshold do I need to train at? What is my race plan? What is my nutrition? What is my physio, chiro? There was this structured plan to it. And that gives them the best chance of achieving the outcomes they're after. But what happens in business? We say, here's the target, go for it. Fingers crossed approach. And we say, hey, work as hard as you can and it'll happen. But that's not true. It's got to be a plan. So in a business perspective, what are your key performance indicators? Is it an appointment percentage, a show percentage, a close percentage maybe? What's the average yield of the sales that needs to take place? And also what activity, given those conversions, needs to take place from a daily, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, and beyond to achieve those outcomes. So 2 things for you to take away from the Olympics today is to make sure you understand your team. Don't just bang them around the head about the target, but understand what the target means to them. What does that represent to them by achieving that? And that becomes the conversations you're going to have to create peak performance. And secondly, make sure there's a plan of action and stick to that plan rather than just that fingers crossed approach. You guys have a great day. We'll chat again soon.